So today I'm making a leather credit card holder on a laser engraver. So it's a fun little weekend project. Not too much to it if you have some of the basic equipment, but I'll put a free file down in the description box along with some of this equipment that I've used for today's project. So it's really fun and it's quick to make. So basically we'll cut the parts out at the laser and then we'll glue the pieces together and sew them up. A little finishing work afterwards and it'll be a nice completed project for you. So let's get into it. Today I'm running the Acmer 33 watt module and we'll go ahead and frame that up for our credit card holder project and see where that's going to land. Yeah, laser is really responsive and we'll double check our settings, get some ventilation going and start that file. Normally I would output the image or engraving portion first, but here I knew it would take 2 passes to cut the pieces free, so I thought it would be okay to go ahead and run the perimeter as well as the image on that first pass. Okay, so it looks like we're about halfway through the material, so this time I won't output the image because that's clean with 1 pass, so we'll just make a second cut around the perimeter. All right, we'll pull our pieces out of the laser and continue with the project. Looks good. So you can set things pretty accurately and you won't waste too much material with a laser like this. So for this project we need the 2 brown pieces and then 1 in this shape in a black color, so we'll output that now. I'll set that for 2 passes and here my settings are 700 millimeters per minute on my speed at 80% power. Okay, looks like another perfect cut. Nice. So with this design, it'll just go together like that, and I think that makes a pretty attractive little pattern, so pretty handy too, without having to take your whole wallet with you, just a credit card and a driver's license. The finished project will look something like this, and you can really get a wide array of looks depending on the leather and the thread that you choose. Hey, if you're already a subscriber to The Thoughtful Woodworker, I'd like to sincerely thank you. If not, subscribe for more projects like this. I'd love to have you on board. Now realize that your individual settings are going to be dependent on both the power of the laser that you're using as well as your material of choice. So for me to cut through this leather, I'm using a setting of 700 millimeters per minute at 80% and 2 passes, whereas the engraving setting is actually 4,000 millimeters per minute at 40% power in just 1 pass. I've experimented with different styles where this semicircular cutout is only on the front panel. In fact, this one only has 2 pieces involved, so this one I like a little bit better, just easier to get the credit cards in and out, and it gives you a second pouch there up in the front. So with our parts cut, this is kind of roughly how it goes together, and of course you could use all the same color for that if you prefer, but I kind of like the contrast of the black, especially with this skull design. I thought that went nicely together, but the idea is we'll use some glue. It's called Leathercraft cement, but looks more like white glue to me. Lightly glue that up and clamp it in place. Once that dries, we'll be able to sew things together permanently. Just a little light bead down the edge will do it. Doesn't take much. If you get a little too much on there, just wipe it away with your finger. That's fine. Now on this black piece, we'll actually be gluing it to the finished side of the leather, so you'll need to just make yourself marks so you don't go up too high, but what you want to do is use a scratch awl or a rougher just to loosen up that finished surface a bit so the glue will adhere better. Just align those pieces and press them together. And a bead of glue around our third part. Again, this is just for a temporary bond because we're going to sew everything together before this is done. And don't worry too much. If you get a little glue on your edges, that'll all be sanded and burnished away in later steps. It is nice if you can have your edges more or less aligned though. It's looking pretty good. I like these leather workers clamp. They're just lined so they're not going to scratch up your project, and that's a pretty good way to go. If you have a few of those clips, you can easily hold these together while the glue dries. Now for an optional step, you can go around and cut a stitching line. So this is something you'll probably want to do for sure if you're going to hand stitch it, but in this case I'm going to machine stitch it, but I'm still going to go around and create that stitching line first. It's just a nice detail, and it gives a little spot for the thread to lay in, so something I usually do. Not much to it, and that's an easy step to do if it's something you're interested in. Next, we need to head over to the sewing machine. This is one of my favorite parts of the project, but we'll start with a good back tack and then begin sewing down one side of the project. As you approach the corner, you can actually take a look at the needle and see if you want to do a natural stitch length or if you need to shorten it slightly or anything. So I think I'll just roll that one by hand to take a look at that last stitch and where we're going to land. Now just back that up so it's right at the corner. That looks fine right there. Raise the needle bar slightly and you won't skip that corner stitch. Of course, a good servo motor makes all the difference too. I'm using a Kinedyne servo, which is a digital servo. It's really powerful, but it's also one of the slowest motors on the market. This machine is a Juki 1508, and it's become one of my preferred walking foot machines for leather crafting and smaller goods like this. Really works nice. I've got a needle position sensor on mine, so it makes it a little bit easier. Another detail I like on the sewing machine is to use a split presser foot like this. It just lets you see your stitching line and everything seems a little bit easier to control. And heel tap to raise up your needle bar and release some material. There we go. Pull the threads to manually center that last stitch, and you can trim it close to the material and burn those ends in. Now, one thing to consider if you're using an existing plan like this, you'll want to match the offset between the edge of your material and that stitching line. Mine is just about 1/8 of an inch or a little bit less. That way the credit cards fit in right off the bat. You don't have to soak them in water and stretch them overnight, anything like that. That's a step I like to avoid if I can, but next up we'll just be sanding the edges, make everything nice and flush. It doesn't take much with a little power tool. This one is a Jewel Aid, that's the brand, and it's a combination sander and burnisher, so you can do everything right at one little benchtop station. And what I particularly like about this model is it's super low vibration. Clean up the sanding wheel when I'm done. Looks better. So the final step is burnishing. We'll just put some burnishing gum along the edge, let it dry a bit, and then use a power burnisher. And lots of different ways to go with that. You could hand burnish it, use a Dremel tool with a burnishing attachment, or just use a little benchtop burnisher like I'll show today. But either way, we'll just clean up those edges and it'll be a nice completed project. You can knock the edges off with a No. 1 beveler if you want. Makes it a little bit easier to burnish things. Easy. Just apply a little burnishing gum by hand around the edges and rub that in a bit and let it dry. And then we'll be able to power burnish that in short order. It'll just naturally darken the edge of the leather there, but it's a pretty quick process, but you do want to wait for that gum to dry up a little bit. And once the edges are uniformly dark and they're starting to feel a little tacky, it's ready for burnishing. And you'll just pick the groove that best fits your project. I like to do some on a groove that's slightly wider than the thickness of the project, just so I be sure to get the flat polished nicely. And then I'll go to one where it's a little tighter in the groove, and that does the edges and rounds things over the way I like them. So it's nice to just develop a technique that works well for you. Some people say to only burnish in one direction. With something smooth like this, I don't find it makes all that much difference. If you were hand burnishing with canvas or something, that theory starts to make a little more sense. Okay, there's the finished product, and because we use different colors of leather, there's actually a neat layered look to it as well. So that's a fun little weekend project. I think anybody can tackle that, but particularly if you have a laser engraver, this one gets really fun. So once you have a laser that's powerful enough to both cut and engrave the material that you're working on, you can make all sorts of fun projects. Now this leather credit card holder has become one of my absolute favorites. Well, if you're not already, consider becoming a subscriber to The Thoughtful Woodworker. I'd love to have you on board, but also drop down to the description box. There you'll find a free file for this project, as well as some of the equipment I use to make it. So if you need to do a little research, I'll have links for you there.